I'm going to talk about Tokyo Vice, which is it's been on for a year or two. The second season now coming on. The pilot was directed by Michael Mann, and basically it was a set-up based on a novel by Jake Edelson of the crime scene in Tokyo in the late part of the 20th century. So at that point, Edelson actually went over there as a white reporter who could speak Japanese and could write in Japanese, who got a job on a newspaper, and he was covering the crime beat. And what the story really is learning the formalized way of dealing with crime in Japan, which is different from America and different from Europe, and it's about a discovery of the country through this character. So the character's a white character, so we can see the country through his eyes. But as the show goes on, you get much more details about the other characters, and it becomes less about the Edelson character. He's still very important, but each other character starts to get more fuller as the series goes on. So there's been one season released, and the second season's out just now. So I'm just covering season 1. There's a very good chance this will be out after the second season, because it's not the highest rated thing, and the company behind it, HBO Max, there's lots of changes there going on just now with Warner Brothers, so I can't doubt we'll see a season 3. But it's still one of those wonderful shows that I think it's probably too expensive to keep on making. But I'm sure they'll love the reviews. The reviews are all great, but it's probably one show that's really good that no one's watching, because it just came out and the other shows that got more attention. And over here it's hard to find. It pops up here, it pops up there. I ended up buying it on iTunes during the Christmas sales. But it is wonderful. It's a very, very clever show that is very clear in what it's doing. So Michael Mann set up the style of the show. There was a showrunner there already, and so it was meant to be a film. Then they thought it was better as a TV show, because there was so much in it. It was much like you'd end up losing so much of the interesting stuff. So now it actually can be paced much more like the HBO shows of the past, where you're going from A to B in a season. You're not trying to cover the whole of the world in that one season. Just try to cover a certain point of the world. So in this first season, it's pretty much guy gets a job in Japanese paper, and I'm watching him work out how to survive in this world. And then you see him meeting different people who become characters within the story, and they become much more important as this season goes on. So by the end of it, you're covering various stories. So Jake's just one story, find about 4 or 5 of them. So it's a really good structure to do. His idea is he's our focus to start with, but as it goes on, he's one of many. So I can't remember how you pronounce his name. The guy from Baby Driver is the lead in this film. Engo Izort or something. I can never remember his name. He's good in the show though, and basically his character is a character who is smart, but maybe a bit greedy for the next big thing. He wants to make an impression, and he has problems at home he's not dealing with. So he's a kind of a character under duress who has his problems, but it's a well put together character. And the good thing is that they don't weigh him down with tons of stuff. They weigh him down with trying to get to the next stage of his career, trying to get to the next day, through the next day, under a lot of pressure all the time. So it's a reactive role where he doesn't know that much, and he's trying to be intelligent how he goes about trying to get the information. So you're watching someone learn on the job, and that worked for a long time because you're learning a lot of stuff about the mafia world. But as he goes through, he's introduced to a young guy who's in the Yakuza, who is a junior member, but someone people expect a lot from. And throughout the series, you see him grow up in the Yakuza and become more important in that world. As he's dealing with civil war within the Yakuza, you've got Rachel Keller as the as basically a hostess in Japan. Basically, these are women who entertain they're not sex workers, they're entertainers for these rich guys who pay them. And you watch her because she's her own reasons why she's in Japan, and you watch her navigate that world, and you get to see the hostess world, and you get to see the how important and how seedy it can be, and how difficult a lot of the situations are. But then we have the police, which is the Ken Watanabe's character. He's a guy who's also navigating the mafia world, but he's navigating it from the side of he can't get rid of them. Like, these guys are around, the government is tagged them in different ways. There's no way he can get rid of the Yakuza, but he can try and cut down the damage. The best he can do is cut down the damage, keep them from fighting each other and causing lots of damage to other people. And he knows he's in a compromised system where there's corrupt cops, and he knows a lot of time he's peacekeeping between different factions who he doesn't particularly like, but he's trying to do his best within a circumstance. But he also knows there's some of these people he's dealing with are horrific. So he's in a compromised situation, but he's also got a family outside of that, and he's got a life outside of that. So it's like he's trying to balance his life and his work. But he's the kind of voice of reason, and he's the guy who has seen a lot of mistakes made, and he actually understands the subtle way to go around things, the subtle way to deal with things, so you're not caught out by, because he's aware that the people he's facing against in Yakuza are smart people, which is something Jake character has to learn. He just doesn't get it. So Ansel Elgort is the name of the actor. So Jake doesn't understand that. He thinks he's going to come in and, oh yeah, they're quite smart, so but he'll find stories because everyone's been lazy, and it's like, no, these are smart people. You're not going to catch them out in simple things. Even if you think they've been clever, there's a good chance they're just as clever as you. So you have to be careful with them. They've also got the newspaper, and his connection with the newspaper is played by Rinko Kikuchi, who you'll recognise from Pacific Rim and a bunch of other stuff. And she's not the editor, she's the sub-editor above Jake, who's basically the boss when he first gets in there, and she's tough on him, but she actually teaches him how to actually do the work within this system. And then when Jake starts to bring in other stories that are promising, and she helps him out because she realises he's onto something, but also she's her own projects that aren't popular within the news organisation that she wants to push forward too. So she's got her things, but she's trying to tell him, like, you have to do your job and then follow this stuff on your own, and then try and push it through slowly. It's that kind of way of doing it. So she's the one who teaches them how to actually work within the system. And Jake's also got a couple of pals who started out with him, but he also has to deal with, like, just office politics, and some of the people there hate him because he's white, and he's Jewish, which is like even so there's anti-Semitism, there's anti-white stuff, so he has to deal with a lot. And then so all these worlds that you get first introduced to when Michael Mann directed the episode, and then they're slowly developed over time as you see the Yakuza slowly develop. It's through this character who we see who's struggling with the idea of being a Yakuza. You see him slowly working out what's going on, and you start to see the more dangerous side of the Yakuza the more you go in. You already see it early on, but you see it from the inside, how dangerous it's inside as well as to other people. And you also see how brutal the defences of the Yakuza are when someone might get caught. And then you see in the newspaper how difficult it is to navigate, because these people are trying to keep a facade of everything's fine, there's not much Yakuza stuff going on, because it's easier politically. And don't mention Yakuza unless you have to. And the police are the same, they do not want Yakuza brought up much, they'd rather just say the low crime rate, everything's going fine, don't ask questions. And it's like the people have to negotiate within this system to try and get something done. So it's a system that's stalled for different social reasons over time, so people can die and be barely reported, because it's easier for everybody not to report it. So it's a thing where the people in power are happy for things to happen as long as they don't have to deal with it. And so these characters are all in different ways that we're following, trying to make a difference. The Rachel Keller character, she's trying to start a business for herself there, and it's much more different than she thinks. And she's dealing with people who are her friends who are much more dysfunctional than she is, much less organised. So you've got that situation, you've got the Yakuza and how difficult that situation is, you've got the cops and how complicated it is, we have all the corruption in there as well. So it's a complicated show, and it's not holding your hand, it's not trying to give easy answers. By the end of the first year, essentially, it's just started. It's like you through all this stuff and you realise, oh yeah, the story's just starting. It's just like, this is just a difficult first act of a thing. And it's like, it's pretty brutal, but it's that thing of, I actually respect the audience saying, like, this kind of stuff's difficult to do. This kind of, trying to change a system is not like a movie where you make one big speech and everything changes. It's like, there's a lot of resistance, it takes a lot of time, and you make horrible mistakes along the way. Like, Jake makes a horrible mistake, which he doesn't realise until he's made it, just how horrible a mistake he makes. And there's lots of things there where people having to learn how to deal with the situation, deal with what's going on. So it's a very complicated show, and that's probably why it's very hard to get people interested in it, because it's just a difficult sell, basically, because it's like, yeah, come along and watch this show, and it'll take you a long time to get into it because it's slow build. So if you like a slow build show and you're interested in Japanese culture and the Yakuza, this is a show for you. You know, if you're wanting lots of action, it's not the show for you. This is much more deliberate. It's an investigative show. And it's not an investigative show where there's a payoff every episode. It's a much more like, they might get a payoff by the third episode or something, you know what I mean, of one little thing, and it's slow build. So it's a very good show, so I highly recommend it, so please go watch it. Right, that's me for now. Right, bye.